I'm a huge fan of the Cold Steel Bushman, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Bowie version. Stick around. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule to watch this video. I want to thank all of my subscribers and welcome all the new visitors here to 411 Outdoors. I hope you find this content helpful and resourceful. Now let's take a look at this thing. There's not a whole lot that you can't do with a Cold Steel Bushman. This thing is a survival powerhouse. If you want to just use it as a knife, you can. If you want to throw it, you most definitely can. For me, I'm always going to put mine on a spear. Let's take a look at this packaging. Now, I got mine used. I went out to Amazon and got it for about $16.99. You got a 7-inch blade. You got an overall length of 12 1/4. This thing weighs 10.1 ounces. High carbon steel. And the blade thickness on this is 2.5 millimeters. These things come with a very handy dandy sheath, farrowing rod here. Take a look at that. Now, as a safety precaution, when you're taking these things off, don't put your hand right here where these ridges are. You'll get sliced. You always want to take this thing off from up high. And there she is. Big, bold, sharp, and beautiful. Always be super careful when you're around this blade. They come absolutely razor sharp. You want to handle a spear with care anyway. There's just a lot that can go wrong with a spear. As I mentioned in my last video, there's a lot of things that you can use for, your pole here. I actually cut me a stick down today and whittled the end down. Last time I used one of those handles that you can buy from Home Depot, but I wanted to kind of make my own handle this time. This is a very, very sturdy handle. When you're making the end of this thing, when you're carving it down, one thing you can do is just measure the length from here to here as a carving point. I carved down a little bit lower than I needed to, but you just want to take a little off at a time, and you want to keep trying it out, sizing it on. You can always take more wood off, but you can't put more wood back on. So you have to be, careful when you're angling the end of your handle. Once you get it to where it's fitting pretty good, you just want to put it on there and just kind of jam it down in the ground. Let it get wedged up in there really good. And Cold Steel here has got a place where you can put a screw. I just think that's hard to beat right there. That's pretty awesome. Not all spear tips that you'll buy will have that screw hole. I bought one from Armory Replicas that did not have that screw hole, and I don't use that one anymore because I don't feel like putting a screw hole in it. So let's use our imagination and talk about all the ways that something like this can benefit you. Well, first and foremost, like I said, it's a survival powerhouse. You can, get to hard to reach places. You can cut limbs. You can defend with this. I like mine to be up higher. If I'm walking through the woods and I trip and fall, I don't want to fall down on my spear and impale myself. People that have their spear tip right here, I just think that's a very dangerous thing. I like to have mine up above me. Even if I can have it higher, I prefer that. But, this was kind of the best I could do today. But, if you're walking through the woods and you get approached by a wild animal, something like this, you can, easily, defend yourself. They don't want to walk onto the end of this thing because it will pierce. It will go all the way through. Whatever you throw this at gets destroyed. This thing will go all the way through. It's got a very, very sharp tip, very sharp piercing point, very sharp blade. It's just going to melt through whatever it hits. Now, I will tell you, I broke the tip off of my other Bushman. You can break these things. You can break the tip off of this pretty easily. I don't know what I hit. I think it was, I hit like a really solid root in the ground. I went to throw my spear and I missed, and it arched and it hit a place in the ground. I don't know, it could have hit a rock or something. All I know is it bent the tip, and when I tried to bend it back, it broke off. So you can break the tips off of these things. But even if you break the tip off of a Bushman, it's still very sharp. It still pierces very well. I don't have any problems with my other one. It still cuts well, pierces well, but you can break the tip off of these. In ancient battle, a spear was a very hard thing to deal with. And when I hold this in my hand, I just feel power. It's got thrusting power and it's got slicing power. I'm gonna nail this water bottle here. Now, I'm not gonna tell you not to try this at home because I want you to go out and buy these things and enjoy them just like I am. Just be careful, I guess. Goodness gracious. That bottle may as well have been warm butter. There's no need to do no hair sharpening test. No paper cutting test. This is a razor blade. I'm primarily going to use my other Bushman as a thrower. I want to preserve this one as long as I can. This is my favorite of the two. I like the Bowie design a lot better. This thing just looks like a wrecking ball. I'm kind of going to knock around a lot more with my other one, but I am going to throw this. I want to show you my favorite way to throw a spear, and it's not overhand. I like to do an underhanded thrust and push. I've never seen anybody else do this throw, so it's very unorthodox, but let's give it a go. It took me forever to get the spear out of the target. It went about halfway in, about half the blade was in the target. That's how deep these things pierce. You know, whatever you throw them at, they're gonna go right through it. If you're using it to hunt, it's gonna get the job done. If you make a connection, it's gonna go through. If you defend with it, God help the individual that you are defending yourself against. If you wanna catch those out of reach limbs, not a problem at all. It gets the job done. It's most definitely something I would recommend anybody have in their survival arsenal. I know a lot of you have the Cold Steel Bushman. I'd love to hear your stories and experiences regarding the use of this amazing tool. And if you have ideas or insight, I'd love to hear that as well. Before I close out the video, I did want to share this with all of you. You know, I've been working really hard over the last year and a half to see this YouTube channel grow into what it is, and I've been able to come a long way because of my subscribers, because of all of you, and I greatly appreciate your support. Earlier this year in March, I did go out and establish an LLC for 411 Outdoors. It's just grown into that point, and that was a move that I needed to make. And I did establish a Patreon account if you want to support the channel in any way. I will provide that link in the description. Either way, I just appreciate you watching. I will also provide a link to some of the deals that are being offered on Amazon for the Cold Steel Bushman. There's some really good prices out there. You may have to wait a little bit on the shipping. There's a lot of, you know, used ones out there, but they're all usually in good condition. Thank you so much, my friend. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.